Do you think the combat system revamp is the next update, Toycat? And I probably would have said definitely no until the latest Bedrock beta / preview came out, and we need to talk about this because alongside adding the Deep Dark and a couple of important changes, they also added in the small print as a bunch of changes and bug fixes, significant combat changes if you are a Bedrock player. Let me go through them one by one here because we have the protection enchantment now properly working against most damage types. That is a huge buff to protection, which is important. We also have armor toughness being added as a concept. This has only previously existed on Java, and it basically means that armor with a high toughness value can scale better against big attacks. So say a piece of damage that does 10 hearts will be significantly better scaled against armor that has toughness, which happens to be Diamond and Netherite having a toughness of 2 and 3 respectively. This means that after 1.19 comes out, Netherite armor will technically be better, not just in terms of the enchanting, the fire resistance, and the knockback resistance, but the actual damage reduction when it comes to very big attacks. Also, they tweaked armor reduction calculation to account for toughness. Netherite armor will reduce more damage than diamond armor, it is explicitly stated, but the most interesting one here is the fact that punching deals less damage now to better match the Java edition. That's right, they finally confirmed that Bedrock doing double damage for their punches was not an intended feature because of touchscreens or whatever, or if it was, they've decided not to go with that anymore, and now there will be 1 damage for punches, which can actually be a pretty big deal, especially for speedrunning and for people doing the early game stuff. And so yeah, you've got to bear in mind that 1.19 is unlikely to do all of the other combat changes we've been seeing. They have mentioned recently that they're working on getting round to that a lot sooner than they previously were. There are more members of the team working on it, and this could be a sign that instead of trying to make an impossibly big combat system update, which is taking many years, they might just try to implement it change by change by change, or maybe this is just a step towards Java Bedrock parity. I don't know for sure, but I do want to move into the second question because Manuel David Cerna Ramos, that's too many names, sir, says, has anybody found a deep dark city in a lush cave? I want to know if that's possible. And it's funny because you're right, my experience is mostly finding deep darks kind of mashed together with the dripstone caves, and I've seen a lot of comments confirming that. However, here you can see a couple of images that King B Dogs tweeted out this week showing off some testing he's doing with the deep dark, and as you can see, lush cave and deep dark in the same place. You can also kind of see why this doesn't necessarily work because the lush cave kind of does light up what is meant to be a very dark area, but you can see from the second image, well, you can see from it if we light it up because it's very hard to see normally, you can see from the second image that they are playing around with the shape of the deep dark, and you'll be able to be better led into it. It won't just be something with a single ancient city, and there might be more of a lead and a search for finding that structure, which I think is a way to solve that problem. Speaking of solving problems, the next question comes in from Brandon Feltner, who says, so will the deep dark be in the overworld or is it a new dimension? And I can see why quite a few people are confused about this, because of course when people talk about the deep dark, we don't just talk about it like it's a biome, we talk about it like it's a whole other world, and part of the reason for that is the Warden being so intimidating, but it is important just to clarify right now that the deep dark is a part of the overworld. It is a biome. Within that biome is contained the ancient city, Minecraft's most expansive structure to date, it seems, and then within that ancient city there is a portal, and the use for that portal has still not been revealed. Yes, sadly, even right now we don't know what's going on with that portal, but it does seem as though King B Dogs likes the mystery of it. He even explicitly stated that he thinks it's done a really good job because of how much it gets players questioning, and so if you've had questions about what goes on through here, is it a new dimension, is it something else, then I guess that is the design function going as intended. Speaking of going as intended, just a person asks, what do you feel about all of the recent updates, like they've been all huge changes to the game? I feel as though Minecraft, you know, when you look at like Title Update 9, which was a pretty major Minecraft Console Edition update when it first came out in 2013, it's really hilarious how tiny that changelog is by modern standards. I was looking at Title Update 12s recently. Wow, that could be related to a future Let's Play maybe, but you know, like I was looking at that changelog recently and I realized that like, yeah, the same thing happened there. They added a new biome and that came with an ocelot and a new type of mob, the Iron Golem, and then they also added 4 new blocks it seems like, and then a few more exclusive blocks for creative, but there was very little content in those updates. When you consider the equivalent updates that come out now, I do feel as though when you see that side by side, it makes you realize the standards that we have with Minecraft now, and part of that is because, yeah, it became a multi-billion-dollar game developed by a trillion-dollar corporation, and so of course they're putting more money, more time, more resources in, but it also does make you realize that even if we get the smallest possible version of 1.19, that is just swamp, Birch Forest update, and then the Deep Dark, and you know, the associated mobs and blocks for those, that is still going to be an update which is bigger than the medium-sized updates of the past, which is very interesting to kind of compare. So I do feel as though the recent updates are doing pretty good, especially when you compare back. I think the way that the you know, cave update was released was a bit of a mess, but you know, we did get there in the end, did we not? That's a rhetorical question. We didn't get there yet. We have to wait till the wild update comes out to have the finished part of the cave update. But you know, speaking of the finished thing, how did you start out before you became a full-time YouTuber? Asks Stiller90. I would really like to know. And on YouTube, we often follow creators as if they are this static thing that has existed since the time we found them, and most of the time you find YouTubers who are already big. I mean, it's just the statistical thing, right? That you're way more likely to find a big YouTuber because they have much more reach and subscribers because of the fact that they're big, and so you might be curious as to like, how do YouTubers get that way? And so if you take a look at my, like, I don't know, like medium/medium large YouTube channel, you can see that, like, yeah, this is my full-time job between this and the other couple of channels that I run, and then the map stuff, the merch stuff, and the streaming stuff is all kind of the side hobby kind of thing. But how did that happen? And the simple answer, you can actually go back from my YouTube channel and look at this. Of every year I contemplate whether I should private the old videos because someone's going to go through them to use something against me. But right now, you can still go look and see that, yeah, I just started uploading gaming videos. No one cared about them because who wants to watch a video someone recorded on their phone? But I just kept trying new things and uploading weird different stuff, and most of it did not work. 99% didn't. But whenever something would work, like, I don't know, I'd play Call of Duty 4 and use a weird gun combo and then do some commentary over it, people would be like, okay, some people liked this. And I started to work out what people liked and didn't like. I mean, for instance, when a new zombies map came out, people would like to watch me play some zombies on there. Once it was old, it was much less exciting of a topic. I started to work all these things together, and then I was making weekly videos when Minecraft Xbox 360 came around. I figured I'd start making some, and then that evolved into the channel that you know today. That's the basic story. But like, how do you ever get into that? And the answer is, for any job that is, what's the word, like oversubscribed like YouTube, there are lots more people who want to do it than actually seem to do it professionally. You need to be into it as a hobby, and maybe for a long time, maybe forever, and then eventually it kind of makes the jump. The more effort and the more time you put into it, the higher a chance you can make that jump. But it's not like applying to be a programmer or some other salary position where there's just a ton of job offers out there, and eventually you know, someone will hire you if you want to do the thing, because the thing is hard and challenging. With YouTube, it's much more about like following the thing very closely and hoping that you find you're in, whether that's like, I don't know, making shorts or making you know, like very different stuff that's for some reason there is a gap in the market, and hoping the algorithm picks you up. I do have to admit, it's the most demoralizing advice out there, but I think that people are a little unrealistic when they say that, like, yeah, if you want to do something, just follow your dreams and it will happen. And it's like, yeah, well, if you're independently wealthy, you can do that. You can just follow your dreams till the end of time. However, if not, you kind of have to balance the economic reality that 99% of people who want to do certain jobs, whether that's acting or YouTube or the music industry, will fail at that job. And so if you would like to be prepared for the most likely outcome, then you should be. But maybe that's being negative right there. But that's the advice that I'd like to give. Maybe it's useful, maybe it's not. But maybe instead you find something more useful from my answer to Muse's question. What loot would you like to see in the ancient cities? And yeah, because right now you get skulks in there, you sometimes get health potions, and you sometimes get the new enchantment. It's very exciting to be able to sneak swiftly, and it's going to be our first legging enchantment, so there's reason to go there right now, don't get me wrong. However, if I was trying to make the loot better, as it's been indicated that maybe they will be doing, I would say a few things are important. One, chests shouldn't feel random, and they shouldn't just be giving the generic, like, here are diamonds, here is, you know, like, iron pickaxes, like, things that are useful to everyone all of the time shouldn't be there. It should be the more niche items that you can specifically seek out. I think, as an example, golden carrots spawning there naturally would be pretty cool. Just, you know, a little boost for coming through the biome. The best food that you can possibly have might also help you out with the Warden thing that's around. I also think if they're going to have some combat changes in this update and they add the stackable potions, then yeah, potions are a great thing to add there. I think in addition to the health potions, they could add either some speed potions or some jump boost, or, you know, something to help you maneuver around and get past the Warden. That could be a fun way to make it thematic. But also I'd like to see the enchantments that spawn in these chests be a little bit more limited, because right now it seems to be any random enchantment plus Swift Sneak. I'd like Swift Sneak to be a bit more common, and then also make another set of enchantments be slightly more likely there. I think a fun example would be the crossbow, because the crossbow can be used to launch fireworks, which is a loud thing which might upset the Warden. And so there we go, now you've made the ancient city loot a little bit more thematic. But that's just my take. What do you think would make for good loot in ancient cities? Because I guess it's just as valid as mine. But I figured that's how I would improve them on first glance at this question, Mr. Muser. Speaking of answers to questions, Generic Human asks, I don't know if you want me to actually go to Twitter, scary, or just reply. So I'd say every couple of weeks or so I do a Q&A using Twitter, and the other half of the time I do questions using the YouTube community section. I tend to find that the YouTube community section asks more questions about Minecraft, whereas the Twitter will ask more questions in general, and so depending on which I need more of that week, I'll base it that way. However, if you see a community post on YouTube asking you for Q&A questions, feel free to post it under there. Anyway, they ask, what do you think the best feature in the Wild update is? And I think there's a few ways to answer this, but clearly by public spectacle, it has to be the Warden, right? The Warden is raising so many questions and making people want to go down there specifically for it. And yeah, even if it was just the update we had right now, people would still find it to be incredibly interesting, right? So is that the best feature for that reason? Or is the best feature the one that I'm going to be using a long time from now? Whether that's mangrove wood, even though right now I don't have much excitement, or whether it's the, renewable mud clay thing. We'll have to wait and see. I am excited to play around with those blocks maybe at some point. But you know what else I'm excited for? Moving on to the next question, which incidentally comes in from Cholito. No Warden on Bedrock again. Where is this guy? And I do see the rage of like, why is it that Java has had the Warden for more than a couple of weeks now, and they are continuously not adding it to Bedrock? It seems really scary, like, wait, are they not going to be able to add this very key important feature to Bedrock? We've seen they've missed features from Bedrock before, even though they've come out on Java, and so will it include the Warden? I think probably not. I think the Warden isn't on Bedrock for one of two reasons. Either they just can't get the, the mob working to their base standards that they're happy with, or they want to make sure that the version they put on Bedrock already has some of the anti-cheese functions that they've worked out from the way Java players are dealing with it. They want to make sure that that is in there, and, who can really blame them? They want to make the Warden an actually fun and interesting mob, and that is one of the ways of doing it. I don't know for sure what the answer is, but I will let you know the moment the Warden comes to Bedrock, because we need to play around with it ourselves, right? This is something we need to check out. I'm very, very excited. Every day in the middle of the week, I'm like, is there going to be a new Bedrock beta? Is it going to include the Warden? And one of these days, the answer will be yes, and I really want to see what they do differently, because will it have more health than the Java Warden? We don't know still. Will it be different in terms of behavior? Will it be different in terms of how you can attack it? And all these sorts of different questions we're going to find out very shortly. With that said, let's move into the final question though. And this one comes in from Raziel Bloom, who asks, why are you so cute both face-wise and personality-wise? And you know what? I wanted to highlight this comment because the majority of comments talking about me on YouTube are some form of, negative one in some way. Like, wow, I can't believe you like this, Toy Cat, or wow, I can't believe you like this, Toy Cat. Something about hair, something about face, something about even your mannerisms, Why are you wearing shirts like that? You're wearing them wrong. And it's like, I don't even, like being on the internet, you're exposed to a lot of criticism. And so, wow, one person was nice to me, and look, they showed up on Q&A Saturday. This is your public note that all you have to do is be slightly nicer to me, and you'll show up here. But in case you want to see this nice face and nice personality a little bit more, I can't say it about myself. It seems too vain, and it like hurts my soul because it feels like I'm lying to you, internet. But if you want to see this face and personality more, I am getting back into streaming. We did a couple of streams over the last week, and I'm looking to do a few more, maybe even today. What we're going to be doing is start again, either today, tomorrow, soon. We're starting the Bedrock Super Flat Survival. I am really excited for it. It's gonna be really, really weird because Bedrock Super Flat is just a pure flat green land, and yeah, make sure you tune in for that. I'll make sure I do an announcement via the YouTube community posts like I try to do. Subscriber notifications turned on if you want to watch live trying to survive and actually expand on a world where there are no resources. It seems impossible, but I have quite a few fun things planned, and come and stick around for those. Speaking of coming and sticking around, well, that's a unfortunate way to ask a question, huh? We have this next question, which comes in from Simon H. Are we losing the old swamp? Wait and see. It's not losing if there's not much worth being in there. Video over. So I wanted to address this because I get a lot of comments like this that answer the title of the video rather than the video itself, and it's one of those frustrating things that I guess I can sometimes see the other end of as a viewer. So why do you sometimes have a 15-minute video where the title is only referenced as the first 2 minutes or something, like in the case of last week's Q&A, and like why do people decide to respond to that? And the answer is yeah, titles on YouTube and to some extent thumbnails, I guess also to the same extent thumbnails, are designed to be the most clickable they can be because YouTube uses click-through rate to determine how interested someone is in the video. So you need to have the most interesting part of your video facing forwards. It's like a book cover, right? You need to have the most interesting part. You don't have the book cover of Harry Potter is not like, you know, random words from page 253 and then Harry opened his goblet and drank from it. You know, that no one's excited to read a book based on that, but there's dragons or something on the front probably. It's been a while since I looked at a Harry Potter book. And the same has to be true on YouTube, sadly, because it's a competition. There are more YouTube videos than there is time to watch them, and so yeah, you need to have a more clickable thumbnail, and sometimes that means you need to have so hopefully you know, like tasteful things. I feel like I try my best to toe the line in a way that is on the fairer side of it. I know there is much more money to be made and more crazy, outrageous, clickbaity thumbnails, but I try to, even though it's the most enticing and interesting bit, it's still going to be honest and actually in the video. It's hard to do that for Q&As, but I do my best, and I hope that you don't mind the way that it shows up. If you do, make sure to send your complaints to, I don't know, at Minecraft on Twitter, and you know, just outsource those complaints. Wait, send them to @ToyCatA on Twitter. I recently have set up a new assistant, so send them your complaints, and they will probably not send them to me. And then there we go. You get to complain at someone, I get to not be complained at. And if you do want to see some of those live streams, like I say, been getting back into them. They're a lot of fun. And you know what else is fun? You. Yeah, I'm just complimenting you at the end of the video. Thank you for watching. First channel, do care. Feels weird being on webcam for this one, huh? And I'll see you next time. Bye. See, I care in the sense that I make my thumbnails not clickbaity. That's true caring.